Thank you very much, Louise. Yeah, I'm absolutely exhausted watching Lou and Simon running around the grid just there.
Well, you should try racing and commentating as well.
Well, we are on for a real treat. We've had a fabulous day already, Tim, with some fantastic racing, as we can always expect in British touring cars. And by the way, thank you to all the fans. We're still building up the fan base. More and more people are watching touring cars on ITV4. Thank you for joining us. And what are we on for this afternoon then?
Well, we've got the reverse grid race now. The top 7 from last race reversed, but still carrying the ballast. As Matt Neal said, it's going to be difficult. He's got to try and stay out of trouble and still get points and go forwards. But who knows what can happen in this race? It's traditionally the one where we get the most amount of incidents. Remarkably, it's not a wet race. We haven't had a pure wet race all day, which, bearing in mind the forecast, is incredible. But I think there's an opportunity here, definitely for an Andrew Jordan maybe, or Gordon Shedden now, or Matt Jackson to actually get a win out of this race.
So it's all to play for as we go into the final race of the day here at Croft, and the final race for 6 weeks, because they've got the big summer gap coming up, so they'll all want to stamp their mark on this one. Let's take a look at that grid then and see how they line up. It's Nick Foster, the businessman, who lines up on pole position, still in his first year of British touring cars, and alongside Tom Chilton, who's never won a race here at Croft. Matt Jackson, who's also never won, but he's had a couple of fighting seconds, as we've seen already today. Gordon Shedden lines up on that second row, and then it's Andrew Jordan and Rob Collard, both capable of getting onto the top step. Matt Neal and Dave Newsham on row 4, then Andy Neat and Tom Onslow Cole on the 5th row, followed by James Nash and Tony Gillam, the two 888 teammates. Sean Hollenby and John George, Golf and Chevrolet on row 7. Lee Wood and Alex McDowell are together on row number 8. Then Jeff Smith in his repaired Pertec car. Chris James, we spoke to him earlier. Rob Austin and Jason Plato are on row 10. Paul O'Neill and Frank Rathall are on row 11. Then Tom Boardman and Liam Griffin are on row number 12. So that's how they line up on the event. There you are on board with Tom Onslow Cole as he focuses on getting a little bit of heat into the tyres in the Ford Focus. Let's see if we can grab a quick word with Tom. Tom, this is Ben in the commentary box. Hope you're enjoying your return to Team Aon. How are you feeling about this one?
Yeah, no, feeling good. We made a few more changes to the car, and I've had a lot more time in the car now, having a dry race too. So no, feeling good. We're 10th, but we've obviously got some quick guys in front of us. So if we can go forward, I'll be happy.
Okay, thanks, Tom. We'll see how he progresses, and that's good to see the fans are still hanging on here for the final race of the day. The Croft fans are there. We've got a young fan. So a little Lewis or a junior Jensen, whichever way it is, it's great to see some supporters, young and old, here today.
Yeah, he looks very comfy, doesn't he? He's probably had some ice cream, and well, check out the wildlife there. And don't eat it, son. No, good boy.
Yeah, he's really thinking about this one. Who's going to win this race? I wonder.
Now, he said, should I have put a bet on? I would have bet 4 rusks on Matt Jackson winning.
Very good, very good. Well, we'll have to see if Matt does it and whether he wins that. So round they come to the latter part of the lap. It is Nick Foster then starting on pole position in the BMW. As I say, he's a company chairman in his normal life, chairman of Contour Electronics. First got involved in rallying in the late 80s. And actually nearly won a big rally competition that could have seen him as a works Ford rally driver actually back then, but it never happened for him. He sort of carried on with rallying, did rally sprints, won the Silverstone Rally Sprint Championship a couple of times. So he's had some form, or certainly on the loose surface, but circuit racing's a bit more recent, just the last few years. Yeah,
and also the style of racing in touring cars is something that people really have to learn to adapt to. The cut and thrust of it, the pushing and shoving, the close proximity of the cars, it can destabilise your rhythm. Or no 2 laps are the same in a touring car race, and I think he's doing a really good job.
Well, let's see what happens. He's got Tom Chilton, who is one of the fastest racers, of course, in touring cars, but hasn't quite tapped the form out of that brand new global Ford Focus as yet, has Tom. So let's see what he can do here. Started on pole last year in his LPG powered car, but sort of dropped away in the races a bit. Let's see whether they've got something better set up on the car. And then, of course, Matt Jackson, he starts third in another of the Fords, but the Airwaves version. And then you've got Gordon Shedden, who's hoping that whatever, there you are, that's with Shedden. He's hoping that they think it was maybe a damper problem on the car. They're hoping that they've solved what has seen them not perform at the same level as Matt Neal so far. All set then for the final race of the day here at Croft. Round 15 of the championship. lights out, away we go. Brilliant start by Nick Foster. Who would think it was his first ever pole? He led at Oulton, and he's leading here at Croft, off the line in race 3, and Matt Jackson up to second, ahead of Chilton. Chilton's in third place, and round the outside, Collard.
Yeah, and having to defend the inside. Oh, he got off. Oh, that must be McDowell, I think.
It's Plato off.
You're right.
He must have made some amazing ground, but he has then ended up in the gravel at the first corner.
Yeah, but he's still in front of a load of other cars, and he started dead last. That's incredible. I didn't think it could possibly have been him. Oh, Jackson round the outside into Tower. Can he pull this off? This will be amazing if he does. It looks... Oh, Foster could lean on him, but he's come out in side by side.
Oh, he's in there. He's done it. Matt Jackson has taken the lead. Nick Foster fought hard, though. He's certainly not giving up those places easily. And Foster now in second. Chilton is third, but Collard is also flying. So both BMWs are in great shape here. Oh, Boldman was a bit... Oh, no, Chilton! Chilton slides, gets it under control, loses one place, loses another to Andrew Jordan.
Yeah, it looked like he either just had a touch on the rear from Collard under braking for Sonny just on the first lap, but this is a great opportunity for Matt Jackson. Remember, he won the third race at Alton Park last time out. Oh, a bit of a lock up there, but he's got a couple of cars behind him that may allow him to get a gap if the BMWs take a while to get their tyres up to temperature.
Now, does Nick Foster allow Collard through easily here, or what is going to happen? They're racing for themselves once they get out there. They might be both Team eBay members, but they both want results, so let's see what happens. Matt Jackson leads from Nick Foster in second. Rob Collard under pressure from Gordon Shedden. Shedden having a little look down the inside. Oh, that was close. Just about managed to make it through.
Yeah, Gordon knew that Collard was always going to turn into that corner, and there's not much braking for that corner, so it's hard to pass. Here's the change for the lead. Coming through the chicane on the first lap. Watch the speed that Matt Jackson carries through there. Virtually flat, and it looked like Foster just had a bit of a lift on the exit there, and Jackson has the run all the way down the straight. That's not just pure turbo power, that was exit speed from the chicane.
Oh, that was Chilton's slide. I don't know quite whether he almost ran into the back of the car in front of him. I don't know quite what happened there. This was what Plato... Are we seeing anything?
No, that's from board Frank Rathel.
Yeah.
Plato rejoins for the left.
Yeah. So that was some of the action at the first corner, but slightly difficult to... Now, what's going on? Oh,
Rathels off. That's the same place that Liam Griffin was off before.
Yeah, absolutely the same place. Into the field on the outside of the Jim Clark S's. Matt Jackson continues to lead here, ahead of the two Team eBay BMWs. Foster ahead of Collard. This is what happened to Rathel.
Yeah, exactly the same. Look, virtually following the same tyre marks. I did actually... Is there damage on the right front? Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
I did ask Liam Griffin what happened, and he clipped the tyres on the left-hand part of the Jim Clark Essage and broke the front steering, and that's why the car went straight on. And I'm imagining that the same thing happened to Frank Rathel as Paul O'Neill rejoins from the spin.
Yeah, so there's been another incident there involving O'Neill. He was, by the way, behind Plato. He's still obviously even further behind Plato, who is now 16th place, Jason Plato, after that wild ride on the first lap. Shedden is still in fourth. Andrew Jordan fifth. Tom Chilton is now in sixth place after that earlier slide. Matt Neal, by the way, winner of 2 races already today, is currently down in 7th place. So a bit of work still to be done by Matt Neal, carrying ballast. There he is, just saw him in the background as we go on board Shedden. He's in 4th, chasing Rob Collard.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Nick Foster's doing a good job here. I mean, Collard is not all over him.
No.
He is closer to Matt Jackson than, in fact, Collard is to him. So, you know, he's more than holding his own. He's established himself as
Shedden on Collard, that was close, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was close, and this is why perhaps the Foster's getting away a little bit, because Shedden's putting the pressure on and running wide there over the dirt on the exit.
Certainly looks like Shedden's car. Oh, Onslow Cole in trouble. There's been an off. Whether there's been contact, I don't know. But he's dropped back behind Newsham now. Let's see whether there was a touch with Nash. Hard to tell. He had to gather it together. Nash had the on. Then there was definitely a big slide from Onslow Cole.
Yeah, I mean, Nash was up the inside between the two right-handers there, and Onslow Cole could, as we've seen before, given a bit of room there and gone round side by side and held the position. Not sure why the wipers went on there for Matt Jackson. That must have been a mistaken flick of the switch, although his wipers were in the vertical position. Maybe he was trying to put them back down again.
Good battles further back as well. Plato's at the back of that group. He's in 16th place. He's got Jeff Smith's Vauxhall just ahead. and Sean Hollanby's Golf as well. So it's taking him a bit of time to work his way through the field here as he tries now to close right up to the back. Meanwhile, the two BMWs side by side. That's Collard on the outside, Foster on the inside, and Shedden trying to take full advantage of this. And Shedden might be able to go through. You're riding with Shedden, and Collard only just cuts in front of him.
Well, that was the danger of going around the outside that he actually lost out then, but oh God, Shedden took so much of the inside there of the corner.
Absolutely.
Look at that touch on the brakes from Collard initially. Shedden was looking down the inside but decided against it.
Oh, and Foster a bit sideways there. That might give Collard a chance now to really pick up the pace. His car looking very good off the corners. All of this is allowing Matt Jackson some breathing space up front as Nick Foster and Rob Collard, the two teammates for WSR in their BMWs, are so busy fighting one another that they're actually allowing the leader to get away, and they're also keeping this guy, Gordon Shedden, close into it.
Yeah, that was it. Oh,
what's he done there?
He was very wide there.
Yeah,
must have just had a partial lock-up braking for the hairpin. But it's interesting what Dick Bennett was saying, that the abrasive nature of this circuit is allowing the BMWs to get more heat in their tyres, and look how well they're working as a result of that.
Yeah, but Foster's still doing it, as you say, a really good job here, holding on to second position and not looking daunted by running up front with these guys. Jackson is still our race leader though. Matt Jackson looking for another victory to add to his tally. Well, can he do it in the airways forward? So far so good, but we're a 1/3 distance less than that so far as they head down towards Tower. Best weather conditions of the day in terms of track conditions. Those slicks really working well now. Matt Neal having a little look on Tom Chilton there, but still down in 7th place currently. And what about Plato? Well, he has picked off a couple of those cars, and here comes Plato trying to get past Gillam. He's got past Smith and Hollanby in the Golf. Now he's trying to get past Tony Gillam in the Vauxhall. So he's now, what is he, in 14th place. Back on board with Shedden here. And Collard there sliding around a little bit, wasn't he?
Yeah, he is. I mean, they're all moving about a bit, but that's what you'd expect. They're driving on the limit. They're flat out. But the BMWs do, as you see from the on-board from Shed, they do put their power down well. They do get out of the corner. There's no way that Honda is really catching them massively on the straight. You wouldn't say he had, a load more horsepower. If we stay on board now down the straight, the BMW puts its power down quite well, but the turbo car is coming, and the gap between them pretty much stays the same. So, it's not a huge differential.
No, that's right. And as they come down into the braking point, the gap does look pretty similar. So Jackson leads. There he is, under control at the moment. The man who finished second in the first race of the day here by a tiny margin as he chased down for the win. There's Jordan and Chilton coming through. Matt Neal is in 7th place still. There's Sean Hollanby in the Golf. He's in 16th place. Jeff Smith 17th. And I think he just got back past him. Plato, Gillam shortcutting the chicane there, but Plato already had the move done. And no, Gillam stays in front. Well, I think he would have to give that place up because he definitely gained an advantage there.
Yeah, he should definitely let him through because he went straight on. But I tell you what, Matt Jackson's not getting away from the BMWs. They're still very close. Matt Neal's trying to sort of keep his power to Drysfield later in the race, but he's under a lot of pressure now from James Nash.
Yeah, Nash just really catching up to the back of the championship leader. Back on board with Gordon Shedden then. And the Hondas, which have been so strong throughout the season so far, not having it all their own way in race 3. They had to work very hard indeed, no doubt about it, as the BMWs make the most of their advantage with rear-wheel drive here at Croft. And there, Foster just got a little bit out of shape, but again, they're staying with Jackson. Jackson is not pulling away from them.
No, they're not. In fact, they're catching him. Rob Collard had the fastest lap on lap 5. As they cross the line this time, it's definitely the BMs that are slightly quicker. Yeah,
again, it was Collard of the top 3 that had this fractionally faster lap. There he is. So can Collard find a way? He's got to get past his teammate first of all. There's Chilton, chased at the moment still by Matt Neal in 7th. Nash is 8th. Newsham in 9th. McDowell's done well. He's up to 10th place, and he started back in 16th. Rob Austin in trouble, sadly, with the Audi. In a disappointing day in the end after showing good pace on qualifying.
And as we say, as the BMW's getting on contention, then the gap opens up again. So either a mistake by Foster through the chicane, or Matt Jackson's found a bit of extra speed as Matt Neal gets alongside Chilton.
Yeah, that was all looking pretty tight. I think Matt Neal, they're side by side into the SS. How do they do that? Fantastic, well done to both drivers, and Nash takes advantage my goodness, one of the fastest sections you'd ever want to go side by side with someone.
Well, that's always the one we fear at Croft, isn't it? Side by side into that chicane in case one of them hits the tyres head on, which we've seen before with devastating results. Was that Collard up
Not
the
yet.
inside?
No, protecting, I think. Foster still protecting.
Yeah.
From Collard, but it was mighty close that time, wasn't it?
Yeah, Collard's really putting the pressure on now, and he could see Jackson getting away a little bit. Maybe Nick Foster's getting a little bit leery, but clearly Collard wants to get on with it.
Yeah, he wants to try and get into second place here and put the pressure on the race leader, Matt Jackson, but it doesn't look as though Foster's going to make it all too easy for him, and why should he? He's racing for himself as well here, looking for his best ever finish, of course, in a British touring car race, to get his first ever podium after a great run at Oldham when he was in the top 10 each time out. Let's see what happens. Still some way to go. We're about half distance now, as we're on that 8 out of 15. And Matt Jackson definitely being given a bit of a break here, as Shenton still chases the two BMWs in 4th. Andrew Jordan is in 5th. Matt Neal, as we know, is now in 6th. James Nash in the black Vauxhall is in 7th. Chilton's been pushed down to 8th. Look at McDowell. He is ahead of Newsham. That's a gain place again from McDowell, who's had a good race so far. Plato's down in 13th place, currently still behind Tony Gillam. I don't think he's managed to get past him just yet.
No, as they break in through Barcroft into Sunny. Just looks like Foster gets a little bit of a slide on through that corner, and that's going to wear his left rear tyre a little bit too hard. Collard actually much smoother through there. He's put his lights on now. Maybe that's a signal to his teammate. Come on, mate, I'm quicker than you, let me through.
Yeah, and Foster will be very aware of that, I'm sure, as they come through the tight, twisty section. Foster just controlling the car, though, and not really leaving a big gap to invite Collard through. There again, you see how slides the back of the car a bit more than Collard, who's just that touch smoother on the throttle, but it hasn't made a big difference. There's still a good car length or so between them. I wonder what the team's thinking right now.
Yeah, it must have been a scrappy lap from Foster the lap before, because he dropped some time, but this lap he's matched Jackson exactly to the same 10th of a second.
Shenton's still unable to really hound these two BMWs. That was a little wide from Foster, but Collard comes neatly through the chicane. But as I say, Shenton's not really able to put him under the pressure you might have expected.
No, I mean, Shenton is only carrying 18 kilos, so you'd have thought he would have been further up. And Plato's still behind Gillam.
Yeah, that's still 13th place, behind Onslow Cole as well down there, as McDowell is now ahead of Chilton. Another place gained by Alex McDowell. He's having a really good run here, is Alex McDowell. It's brought him up into 8th position, so well done to him. And Plato also trying to follow through, but Foster's made a bit of a break there in 2nd on this lap. Collard's nowhere near close enough to attack, though he does close up a little bit, naturally under braking for Sonny in. Sonny out though, and Foster accelerates away again.
Yeah, well, you know, fair play to Foster. I mean, he should be thinking as a racing driver, I could win this.
Here's Plato on Gillam, very close into the back of the Vauxhall. Now, what's he going to do here? How can he find a little bit of an edge? Does he go for the move into the left-hander, the first part of the yeses? It's a risky manoeuvre. He stays in behind for the moment. Onslow Cole's at the front of this queue.
So it might have to be a dive up the inside into one of these tight corners. Oh, 3 abreast.
That's interesting.
Not seen that one into the hairpin very often.
No. He's still not able to convert it. Gillam's trying to get past Onslow Cole as they come across the line once again, back in front of Plato. So he's busy attacking Onslow Cole, but also defending from Jason Plato. Plato still can't quite get there on terms and has to follow him through the first corner.
Yeah, certainly good for Tony Gillam, isn't it? He's racing the defending champion and racing him hard. Oh, up the inside, this is the one, if you can pull it off, but there could be...
Just held it.
Yeah, that was good that Jason just backed out of that, because if he kept his foot in and turned Tony round there, it could have been very dangerous.
Yeah, that could have been a big accident, so they settle it down back into Tower Corner. Onslow Cole, Gillam and Plato. This is 11th, 12th and 13th. They're some way behind the final point scoring position, which is Dave Newsham in 10th, the yellow and black Seat. That's quite some way ahead of them, so Plato needs to get past quickly here, running out of laps. Meanwhile, Foster still in 2nd in car number 18, still chased by his teammate Rob Collard. Collard still hasn't found a way past, and Foster driving beautifully. You'd never think he was in his first season of British touring cars, his first race in a touring car here at Croft. Looks as though he's been doing it for some years, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely, really good drive, and to see the lap times as they come across now, and well, Jackson is a little bit slower, and in fact, Foster 0.3 of a second quicker there. I really think that he could win this if he really put his mind to it.
I'll tell you what, behind them, Shedden's coming under a big end of attack now from Jordan. Shedden's really dropped back, hasn't he, over the last lap or so? And like the last race, remember, Jordan was able to find a way past Shedden. Look how close he is again, trying to tuck in there. Not quite there. No, it was at Tower, I think, that Jordan made the move on Shedden last time.
Yeah, and it was a beauty, isn't it? I mean, it does need a little bit of an extra impetus out of the chicane, which he doesn't look to have on this lap, although the car does look very good on the brakes.
Yeah, so Andrew Jordan really closing in on fourth place, and for some reason Shedden hoped they'd found the problem after race 2, but it just hasn't.
No, he's got a light car, but it just isn't showing us the performance that they'd had before, so something clearly not quite right in that car.
They've got plenty of time to sort it out though. Nice big gap to Stetterton. So, oh, he's a bit deep there as well, isn't he? Back to the leader, still no change, as it's still Matt Jackson leading in the 40. Here comes Collard though. Oh, he's been given the space this time. Foster didn't fight it that hard, and Collard is up into second. So now, big question, can he close down the gap to race leader Matt Jackson?
Well, that was interesting, that was, because it looked too easy.
Yeah.
And I just wonder if the team have said, look, Nick, you've had enough laps to try and catch Jackson, now give Rob a chance, see if he can do it.
I think Jordan has got Shedden, has he? They're side by side. We'll take another look at that. Yeah, they're side by side, but of course Shedden's on the inside into the first corner, and he holds it for the moment, trying to cut back on him in the Vauxhall, but no, can't do it. So Jordan's still looking for a way through. Now he's got the inner line. This was where he made a move earlier today as well. Has he got the grip? I think he has. Yes, done it again.
Wow, full marks to the Pertec team. They've really got that car working well, and he was able to, that's his favourite overtaking place. It's a great place to overtake in a front-wheel drive car once you've got the extra grip.
Yeah, it shows just how well that car is behaving itself. Plato still can't get past Onslow Cole. Meanwhile, Gillam has got past Onslow Cole. So now Plato has to find a way past the Ford and still chase after the Vauxhall up ahead. And there still doesn't seem to be any way. Oh, he's just made a late lunge, gone for it, and he is through on the brakes. Didn't look as though he was going to do that.
No, he was actually straight lining behind Onzo Cole, and then he almost released the brakes and dived up the inside, but held the car nicely on the apex. So we need to watch the gap now. Look, Rob Collard is absolutely wringing the neck of that BMW, and I think that's exactly what happened. I think that the team probably said to Nick, look, give Rob a chance, and it looks like that was the right decision, because he's shot up behind Jackson.
Hasn't he? Now we've really got a race on our hands here. Rob Collard closing all the time on Matt Jackson as they cross the line. 12 laps completed. We're on to lap 13 out of 15, and now there's some anxiety down there in the Airwaves camp as they wait to see what Collard is going to do. Hard, feisty racer, but he has waited for this opportunity. He's never won here at Croft, but we know how strong the BMW is. Can he do it in the remaining laps?
Well, I mean, obviously Collard used to drive for Motorbase, so he's well known in the team, and they know that given a sniff of victory, nobody tries harder than Rob Collard, and he's a dangerous man to have in a fast car behind you with only a few laps to go, and the race win on the cards.
Now look at this lot. Jordan's gone in front of Shedden, who's now ahead of his teammate Matt Neal, James Nash and Alex McDowell. And McDowell's made as much progress as anybody here today in the Chevrolet, so he's now gone onto the back of that queue, and his tyres should be working well. This is the time in the race where the turbo front-wheel drive cars could be struggling a bit. Well, I have to say, Matt Jackson on this last lap done a fantastic job, because he's actually opened up the gap over Collard.
Yeah, well, whether he was controlling the gap before or not, but he's really pushed on, as you say, on this lap. And I mean, the BMW does close up through these tight sections at the end of the lap, and that could help him at the end of the race if he comes up here on the final lap. But then on the faster parts of the track, the Ford just pulls away a little bit.
Actually, it's exactly what Matt was saying to me yesterday after qualifying. Sectors 1 and 2, their car is as fast as anything, but it is that third sector, the twisty section, where they really lost the time in qualifying, and generally where they're struggling. So he's got to build up the lead on the first part of the lap and try and protect it on the second part.
Yeah, because halfway around that last lap, it looked like he had a huge lead, didn't it?
Yeah.
But it didn't. In fact, definitely Collard is closer this time.
Bit of dirt down there. I wonder if they both managed to get through there okay. Somebody has had a bit of a wild ride, laid some dirt, but they've got themselves through there okay. I think might have been Gillam apparently who laid down some dirt. But anyway, quick into Tower Corner. Matt Jackson fast up the backstretch there. That Mount Tune Ford engine is certainly delivering the horsepower, so he's not under any threat as they head in towards Tower. Car balance through these fast corners looks pretty good, Tim.
Yeah, the car looks absolutely perfectly set apart from in those slower final corners.
Yeah, so that's what it's all about. Oh, Jackson really working that car hard. He went off here wide at qualifying yesterday, and he went off us this morning. That's his sort of bogey corner, is sunny in, but he sorts it out nicely, and he has managed to open up enough of an advantage on that part of the lap that when he gets to this bit where he's struggling, Collard is not quite.
But he's on him now, and this opens up the final corner for an opportunity, however you choose to call that, for Collard. I mean, really and I mean, that's what Jackson can do each lap to protect the inside and get to the line in front. The only way that I can see that Collard can get through is to actually physically just give him a little push wide, and that wouldn't be very sporting.
On to the final lap then. It's Jackson still ahead of Collard and Foster. This is still going to be a brilliant result for the BMWs there. Nick Foster heading for his first ever podium finish in British touring cars. He's driven brilliantly from the reverse pole. But what about the race win? Is it going to be Matt Jackson once again taking a race 3 victory for the Airwaves Ford team, just as he did at Oulton Park last time out? He also did it at Donington earlier this year. He's looking for his 3rd win of the season, and he's had to work for it. But is Collard going to be able to pull something off in this last lap?
I mean, there's only one place to try, and Collard's followed him enough laps now to know that unless he makes a mistake, it's got to be in that last sector. And we're told there's yellow flags at the hairpin, which would rule out any kind of overtaking manoeuvre there. Wow. So we'll have to wait and see, but it's the only chance he's got, and if there is any incident between the two of them, then good old Nick Foster would win.
Yeah, that would be really something. Collard was throwing himself into sunning out. We gather there may still be yellow flags at the hairpin. O'Neill apparently might have gone off, so that's really going to cost Collard. Here is his last chance then. We're coming up to the last corner. Matt Jackson, the yellow flags there, but on the exit the yellow flags may not be there. He's trying to accelerate out, and it's going to be Matt Jackson, surely. Matt Jackson, who's finished 2nd here so closely on a number of occasions. Matt Jackson wins. Collard allows Foster through to take 2nd. Well, what about that? What kind of teammanship is that? Collard allowed Foster to take 2nd place. There's Jordan. He's going to finish in 4th place. Nash finishes in 5th in the end. So Nash made good ground there. Shedden 6th. Neil 7th. Then McDowell in 8th place. Chilton in 9th. And Newsham 10th. But how about that? Collard couldn't win it, so he backed off and let Foster.
Yeah, because Foster had let him through to have a go at him, so it was only fair if he didn't manage to get the lead to hand the position back to his teammate who'd been leading him fair and square. And what fantastic sporting driving by those two drivers. I mean, really good driving, and made for a great race as well. But good effort by Matt Jackson. He used the strengths of the Airwaves Ford to stretch out enough of a lead in the points that matters on the circuit, and defended when he needed to. Helped no less by a yellow flag on the last corner.
Yeah, that was a phenomenal race here by Matt Jackson. He controlled that beauty. I tell you what, when he gets in front, no matter what pressure you throw at him, he just seems to hold on. He's done it now a number of times this year, and absolutely superb. Let's see if we can get a quick word with him. Matt, wonderful drive, mate. Well done. You held on. That was a tough one.
It certainly was, Ben. It was tough. Those BMWs, looks like the parity may have swung a little bit the other way now. They were certainly mighty quick. But yeah, no, good result for everybody at Airwaves BMW.
How relieved were you to see those yellow flags at the hairpin on the last lap there?
Yeah, absolutely. The only place that we were struggling was where we are now through the complex, and those BMWs can carry a lot of speed into there. We are really struggling at this point. And obviously, when I saw those yellows, it was a bit of light relief, I think, fair to say.
Oh, well done. You've won here at last after all those 2nd places, mate.
Fantastic, mate. It's brilliant for everybody. Airwaves, BMW, Redstone, Money Shot, Addison Lee. It's been absolutely mega, and obviously Leyland Paints, so thank you.
Oh, well done to Matt Jackson. And well, let's just confirm that result by 0.6 of a second. Matt Jackson takes victory from Nick Foster, who gets his best ever result in his first season of British Touring Cars. Stunning second there. Rob Collard, very gentlemanly, letting his teammate through. He finished in third. Andrew Jordan in fourth for a very solid point-scoring weekend. James Nash in fifth, Gordon Shedden in sixth, then Matt Neal in seventh. Alex McDowell drove really well from 16th to finish eighth. Tom Chilton ninth and Dave Newsham in 10th. Outside of the points then, Jason Plato, he didn't quite get there. Tony Gillam in 12th, ahead of Onslow Cole, Jeff Smith and Sean Hollenby. And they finished ahead of Liam Griffin, John George, Chris James, Lee Wood and Paul O'Neill. And most of the cars did finish. Let's take a look at the championship standings then as we go into the summer break. Matt Neal on 140 points, but look, Matt Jackson has closed that gap back down to 9 points. That's a big effort by the Airwaves crew, and that's really impressive. Gordon Shedden is in third. Andrew Jordan's back up into fourth place. Nash in fifth, and Plato, after that CV joint failure in race 2 in particular, really missing out big time. So he came into this meeting 11 points behind the lead. He's now 40 points. That's a massive margin, and he won't be happy about that. Collard in 7th, Chilton in 8th, McDowell in 9th, and Paul O'Neill in 10th place in the points.